Obviously came to it was a shock for us all really as players. Jared told us as a group, and just got massive amounts of respect for him. What he's done within the game, obviously overseas in Australia, but obviously what he's brought to us as a club. I've got a huge amount of respect for Jared, and we're not done yet. He's not retiring today. He's that's a few months away yet, but no, huge amount of respect for him, and it's just business as usual really.
What's it been like working and playing alongside him?
It's been great, really good. As a man, he's a great man in terms of his values, but then as a rugby league player, the way he carries himself, that's every day what he does to get his body right for training, for a game, what he does away from the club. He's a family man. He's just a perfect role model for me as well. I've learnt so much from him. He's just been an absolute pleasure to play with so far, and like I said, we've got a lot of playing left to do together, so looking forward to it.
Just on that, what's the most important lesson that you've learned from him so far then, that you've taken into your game, or perhaps for yourself as a person?
I'm not sure, it's hard to sort of pinpoint one thing, and just there's loads of things that Jared's great at, and it's infectious, very positive. He's a very positive person, he's calm. He speaks when he thinks it's the right time. He's tough. He's aggressive. This could go on I could sit here for a while and talk to you about him. So it's hard to think of one thing and narrow that down. Probably doing a bit of injustice if I narrowed it down to one thing. So he's added that absolutely loads to us, and he will keep adding to us throughout the year.
When he first walked through the door at Craven Park, what surprised you the most about him?
Probably Well, I sort of met him before I went to Craven Park, but first time I met him was just sort of how calm he was, and you have an impression of someone in your head of what. Obviously, I've watched him play for a long time, and the impression I had of him was just what I'd seen on the field. So to see him off the field and how he carries himself, like I said, his standards in terms of his professionalism, how he prepares his body, does the right thing, eats the right things. That type of thing, that sort of. Obviously, I'd never seen that before. I'd only ever watched him in a game playing the other side of the world. So, just good to get to know him as a person, as a bloke. He's not a rugby league player. He's a man. He's a fella. So it's just good to get to know him and then, be teammates with him.
How much does that help then, seeing him come in and his standards? How much does that help to raise the bar amongst the group in terms of what you want to drive forward?
Yeah, it's helped. He's added to us. I think we already had a group that had really high standards in the past, and we've had great standards sort of setters in the past. Like Ryan Hall previously, Sean Kenny-Dowell, Lachlan Coote. So Jared's added his own way to that, and we've got other people as well. It's not just on Jared. That's not sort of what I'm getting at. Us as a group, as Hull KR, we have high standards within the dressing room. That's what you do at the club before training, what you do whilst you're here. But a lot of it's what you do away from the club when no one's watching. That's the most important thing. It's easy to come in and do all the right things when everyone's watching you, but it's what you do away from the club in your own time, when you can take shortcuts, you can go make bad choices. A lot of the time those choices end up catching up with you, and you don't get away with them for very long. So as a group, we're very big on that. We're honest. If someone's going out of line, they soon sort of stand out for the wrong reasons, and that doesn't happen very often, thankfully. But that's the culture we've created at the club. That's been like that for a lot of years now. So that started, like I said, with those blokes who I mentioned previously, and we're sort of just carrying it on. And when our time is, we'll hand it over to someone else, and that's the job really.
There are a lot of preconceptions about how Jared would fare in Super League. How do you think he's adapted to it, and perhaps maybe confounded those expectations from outside?
I'm not sure what other people thought. I think we we knew what his strengths would be. For us as a front rower, ultimately, front rowers have to carry strong, be aggressive in defence. Do all your detail stuff, and he does it. Yeah, he does it really well, and he's a standard setter for us. We've got Jared and Jesse Sue. They're doing a great job for us in the middle, and obviously we've got the lads on the bench, Jai and Sam Luckley going really well. So, but Jared, yeah, he's playing his part within our pack, and he adds so much to us. Yeah, so we're more than happy to have him, and we're looking forward to the rest of the year with him.
How have you leaned on him as captain, if at all?
I'm not sure. We're just friends, good friends. I ask him for advice if I need it. He might give me advice at times, but we just got a good friendship, to be honest. We have a good relationship. That's what you try and have with every person at the club, and Jared, no different. Obviously, I'd be stupid not to use his experience in certain occasions when I need it, but there's not sort of been a moment where I've gone and, that sticks out in my head. It's just sort of everyday things, the way he is consistent. It's not a facade, or it's not he acts different in certain days or different games we've got coming up. Jared, you see what you get with him, and that's what we really respect, because he's a genuine bloke, and to have him sat in our dressing room, it fills everybody else with confidence, and yeah, we love having him here.
You mentioned it earlier, you've still got plenty of rugby down the track with him, but having watched him play on the other side of the world, what does it mean to you here and now, the fact that you're going to be part of the end of his illustrious career?
Yeah, it's a real privilege. Obviously, what he's done in Australia with the Sydney Roosters, and obviously had a spell at Manly as well, and done internationally. For him to have a chapter here with Hull KR, and we'll play a part on how that looks for him. It's a real privilege. It's just another sort of side story to what we're doing this year. So yeah, we have a responsibility to send him out the right way, but it's much bigger than that. Why we're here, we want to. We've got our own sort of story, but and Jared's is a small one within there for him and his family, and we'll be doing our best to sort of send him off in the right way. But it's only April, he's not leaving for a few months yet.
Of course. Elliot, moving on to you. A year and a bit now as captain. I asked you earlier about how you've lent on Jared in that regard. How do you think you're going and handling that leadership now that you've had plenty of time with being leader of this team?
Maybe you should ask someone else how they think I'm going. But I love being the captain. It's a real privilege and a responsibility for me personally. Means I have to be, like, speak about standards, I have to be at a certain standard every single day, which is a great responsibility. I love that. It gives me a purpose, and it brings the best out of me. You can't have a day off. You don't come in feeling sorry for yourself. Even if you do, you have to hide it. But no, I really enjoy it. I love being the captain. I love the responsibility of that on my shoulders. It brings the best out of me, and yeah, it's been great. So far, so good. There's been bumps along the way, and I'm sure there will be moving forward, but it's how you sort of learn from them and develop, because I'm still developing as a captain. Like I said, around 18 months now I've been the captain, but you never sort of sit back and say, I'm doing a great job. It's how can you be better? How could I have done differently in this situation? So yeah, that's the beauty of it. You're constantly evolving, you're constantly sort of taking feedback and speaking to the people that are willing to give you the help, and then just keep evolving and getting to know the group, because ultimately you've got to be the voice and the leader of the team. So I really enjoy it, and it's something that I like to keep doing and do it successfully.
Is there anyone that you've tried to model yourself on as a captain, in terms of previous skippers you've played under, or anyone else from the world of sport?
No, not at all. You just have to be yourself. If you start to do that, then people see straight through it. Luckily enough, I've been at the club a long time before I was made the captain, so people know what I'm about, know my personality. And then if I was to start acting in a different way because I've been given the captaincy, then it's not genuine, it's not authentic, and you lose respect from your teammates. And ultimately, that's the biggest thing. It's having the respect of your peers around you. So then they, what I'm trying to say to them, they believe it really. Because if not, then it just doesn't mean anything. You might as well not bother. So you take different bits of advice from people. From the coach, from experienced players, and from other people outside of the club. But you have to be yourself. You can't be anybody else. That's not how it goes.
Elliot, you were talking up your captain's challenge record the other week. Do you want to talk us through what went through your head on Friday night?
Yeah, I thought Jared was pulled back off the ball, but I'll hold my hands up. I was wrong. But yeah, look, in the game you try and you think you see things and you get it wrong sometimes. Yeah, obviously if I had my time again, I probably wouldn't have challenged that one. But the previous week we got 2 right, so it swings and roundabouts, and that'll be the story throughout the year. It's new for me, it's new for the team, and yeah, hopefully we get more right than we get wrong. But yeah, I'm still learning, and I'll get some more wrong as well as we go. But yeah, it's part of the game. It's part of the game now.
Indeed, at least the Wigan one was pretty bad as well, so that got you out of jail a touch. What are you learning about Captain's Challenge and how you can maybe compose yourself before launching that decision?
That's the key, really. It's making sure that you're as close to certain as possible. I mean, some are situational where you think you might have a chance of trying to get an overturn, and but like in the previous, we had the whole derby a couple of weeks ago, and we got 2. Excuse me, we got 2 right. So in that one, yeah, there were big moments in the game as well. If we wasn't to challenge them and go with the referee's decision, that means the game could have looked completely different. So yeah, look, we're going to get some right, we're going to get some wrong. Hopefully I get more right than we get wrong, and it's just having trust in your peers again. That if they come and say no, we think it's a challenge, then I'll go with it because I trust the boys. Like that's the job of this challenge. You have to listen to your teammates because I can't see everything. Something might happen on the other side of the field and I ain't got a clue. But you've got to go off what your other people around you are saying. So yeah, you're gonna get some wrong, you're gonna get some right, but hopefully we're on the right side of that.
That whole derby less than a fortnight ago was your 250th career appearance. What did that mean to you?
Yeah, it was great. I had my family come in the day before and present me with my shirt, which is really nice touch from the club. The club sorted that out, surprised me, so that caught me off guard a bit. But yeah, they're the ones that were there for my first appearance, and they'll be there long after I finish playing as well. So really nice that the club did that, and obviously the game itself wasn't great that day. We got the win, but in patches, I think we were not ourselves, not our best. So it was a good day, great day. Don't get me wrong. We're very pleased that we got the win and we're in the next round. And yeah, nice little milestone along the way, but I forgot about that now, to be honest. I've got the shirt at home, and I'll look at it again in a few years' time.
You mentioned those areas of improvement, perhaps from the last whole derby. How much does that help to get the players to go again for only a second derby in less than a fortnight? That you've still got room for improvement. Yeah, well, obviously we're coming on the back of a loss, and we had loads to work on from the Wigan game, but don't need to get the boys fired up too much this week. Everyone's got their own motivations. It's a whole derby. It's regardless of whether you're winning, losing, or drawing. It's a whole derby, and it's massive. So yeah, loads of improvement in us. Like I said, we've whether you win, there's always areas to improve on, and obviously we're coming on the back of a loss, and we've had honest conversations within the group from the coaching staff, and we know we have to be better than what we was on Friday night this week. You've talked about yourselves. What did you learn about Hull FC in that derby?
They're a good side. The table doesn't lie. I know that was Challenge Cup, but they're where they are for a reason. I spoke obviously previously before that game around the turnaround they've had, and the proof's in the pudding. They've just been to Warrington and turn them over at their place, which we know how difficult that is to go to Warrington and win. So yeah, it's really impressed with them again, like I said, and the spine of the team's really dangerous to throw the ball around. Really experienced. Yeah, they've got our respect, and yeah, we're looking forward to another derby on Good Friday. These are the games that you really look forward to at the start of the year. Good Friday is always a bit of extra one, a bit of extra atmosphere and spice, and yeah, no doubt this Friday will be no different. There's a massive crowd going. Our supporters will be there, loud and proud again, and looking forward to it.
As you say, you always enjoy a derby, but the price for this one, winners go top of Super League. How much are you relishing these games now that they've got more on the line beyond just bragging rights?
To be honest, that doesn't really bother me. We're not bothered about if we win, we go top, or I know I've seen the table, but that's not even it's not even been brought up. It's about winning the game, and everything else, sort of whatever comes with that, it comes with it. That's for you guys to talk about, not us. We want to win.
Elliot, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Hi Elliot, it's Martin Sadler here from League Express.
Hi Martin.
Congratulations on the season so far. You've had obviously putting last week's match aside, it's been a terrific season. And I just wonder, as the captain of the side that's at the top of the Super League table, going back to the table again, I would have thought you might be a very, very strong contender indeed for England for the Ashes series against Australia this year. I just wonder whether you've looked ahead to that extent, or are you only looking as far as this Friday?
No, look, I'm aware of this series at the end of the year, of course. I think the series is great, to be honest with you. Obviously, the ticket sales.
Great news about selling out, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just going to say the ticket sales is outstanding. How good, how good is that? That's unbelievable. There's not been a Ashes series for over 20 years, so to have that over here is fantastic. And look, I'm English. I want to play for England again, and I'd love to be involved. But there's a lot of rugby to be played between now and then. A lot of competition in my position as well, throughout the league and obviously in Australia. So you don't. I'd love to play again, yeah, but I've got to be better than what I'm doing at the moment. For Hull KR, I've got to keep improving, and those sort of things I can't control them, unfortunately. The coach Sean Wayne will pick his squad, and see what happens, whether I'm in it or not.
Has he been in touch with you at all?
Saw him on Friday night. He was at the game, obviously with Wigan, and we've had a couple of sort of conversations throughout the year. But yeah, it's a long year. Those sort of things don't get decided till October, so you have to play consistently well, and you do the right things for your club before you get close to playing for your country. So I had a taste of it last year. Absolutely loved it. It was that's the pinnacle for me, is playing internationally, playing for your country, and I'd love to play again, but yeah, we'll see what happens. It's a long year.
Can I just reflect very briefly on your career so far? Because it's been an incredible career, really, I think. You started at Leeds, you made your debut as a very young teenager in 2013, played one game. But then, subsequent to that, you went to London Broncos for a year, and then you were at Sheffield and Bradford. Yeah. You didn't sign for Hull KR till 2020, which was the COVID year, of course. And then you had a very bad injury in 2021. To get where you are now, I think is a remarkable achievement, and one that, ought to be more widely praised, perhaps, which I'm sure a lot of people do praise you to high heaven. But you've done incredibly well since those early days, Elliot.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's been a journey. It's probably made me who I am today, to be honest with you. It's not been easy. Just makes me appreciate, day-to-day things, where I am.
Did all those championship games sort of strengthen your character in a sense?
Yeah, 100%. It was really difficult. It wasn't the games. It was what I was doing in the week. I was on a building site, Monday to Friday. I was a labourer for some bricklayers. So that, I'd gone from being in a changing room with Kevin Sinfield and Jamie Peacock and Rob Burrow as a 17-year-old lad, and then shutting the door at Leeds, and then into the real world. Then it's go to work, get a job. I had to make ends meet. I'm a young lad, didn't have much sort of responsibility, but you had to go and work, and you sort of I had a choice really. You either go down that route and play part-time, or I wanted to get back to Super League, and I wanted to be where I am today really. I wanted to be at a Super League club, and it took a lot of hard work, determination and perseverance really to do that. I got a chance from Hull KR in the end of 2019. I met Tony Smith, and he offered me giving me the opportunity to come to Hull KR. I bit his hand off and sort of never looked back really.
Do you think actually that if you'd been a Super League player all the time since 2013, you might not appreciate as much as you do now, having come through that quite difficult route? Yeah,
100%. I couldn't agree with you more. I would have my attitude towards rugby at 17. I just thought that this is what happened. I left school at 16, debuted at 17. I just thought this is me for the next 15 years. This is easy. Whereas that was so wrong, and couldn't have been far off it, to be even further off it. So yeah, it's made me who I am as a person, as a dad, as a parent now, as a player, as a captain. can offer my advice to the young lads here at the club and sort of let them know that the position they're in is, you know, you should be really grateful, because you know it can get taken away from you at the easiest, you know, the earliest opportunity, and you're in the real world, and it takes you a long time to get back. So don't take it for granted. And even as a player, you know, you come in and we're just coming off the loss at the weekend, but it's important that you remember where you are and what we're doing. You know, we didn't get too high when we was, what did we win, 8 from 8 or 9 from 9? I don't know where it was, but we're also equally not getting too low, because we just lost a game of rugby. It's not the end of the world. You know, life goes on, and we're in a good position. So we don't get too high, don't get too low, and yeah, it definitely made me who I am as a person. Yeah.
Just say one final thing to you, Elliot. I've obviously seen you on TV recently as a pundit on various channels, and just congratulate you on that, because I think you're outstanding in that role, and I hope, you know, to see you many more times. And I don't know what your future plans are, but I think you come across extremely well in the media, and long may that continue.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the opportunity to do that. It's, again, a real privilege to be able to speak about rugby. It's a game that we all love, and it's something that I'd like to do more of. Yeah, and hopefully I might be sat where you are in a few years.
Come on our podcast at some time, mate. But great to speak to you, and good luck on Friday.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks.
Hi, Elliot. Hope you're well, pal.
Hi, mate.
Right, I guess you've sort of been involved in plenty of them over the years. Where does Friday's derby rank in terms of sort of the importance that, you know, the build up to, with the sides being where they are in the table, as you alluded to before?
It's hard to sort of rank them, you know, which more important than the others. I think we had one a couple of weeks ago, which was a knockout Challenge Cup quarter final, which was the first one in a lot of years. So they're all sort of, the next one is the most important one. Friday is absolutely massive for, you know, like you touched on earlier, top of the league clash and all that kind of thing. But the next one is always the biggest one. You never look back and think, oh, that was a big one, or that, you know, we had a few. They've been massive, but the massive, it's a whole derby. It is a massive game for the city, for the Super League, and yeah, this Friday is going to be exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean, I asked Willie the same question. He's obviously been watching from further afield, but before you arrived at KR, did you know the magnitude of the derby? I know you weren't too far away, you know, geography-wise, location-wise, but when you're actually involved, does it go to the next level? Yeah, 100%. I've obviously been aware of the derby from watching as a fan, because I used to watch them. I used to watch Good Friday, where, you know, you sit down and watch Hull derby, and then you'd watch Wigan Saints. That's what I did as a kid and as a teenager, really. So to be involved in it, again, is massive. But no, I definitely didn't understand it as a sort of outsider to Hull. Even my first year at the club, like, it was all new to me. I played in, I think my second game was a derby at FC 2020, and I was like, wow, this is unreal. Probably didn't get it then, you know, and didn't understand it. And then since I moved to Hull and I live over here and been in and around the city and in amongst it, and obviously the responsibility that I have at the club, then it's, you know, you get it. You hear people's stories of how the families are split, how much it means to them. You know, the history of the derby, the two clubs. Yeah, I absolutely get it. I mean, I'm not a Hull lad. You know, I'm sure Hull lads who are involved in that when their parents are split and all that kind of thing, I'm sure they get it a little bit more than me. But I'd like to think that I get it as much as I can. Yeah. I mean, just lastly, then, talk to us about the buzz around the city. Sort of that's been not just the build up to this derby, but sort of this year it must have been even more so, with obviously FC becoming more of a force than they have in recent years. Yeah,
I think it's great. You know, I think it's great what's happening at Super League level, but for me, it's what's happening underneath that. As a kid, I can imagine, and you know, obviously we've got boys who have young lads who play and young girls who play. Everybody wants to play now because the rugby that they're seeing out in the Super League, and it's such a good standard, and you know the two teams are going well. So all the young kids now in Hull, not that they didn't before, but it inspires them. They want to play for KR, they want to play for Hull FC, they want to go and play with their mates on a weekend. So that's our responsibility. We've got a responsibility to do that as players. But yeah, everywhere you go, you just see shirts, training gear, people wearing the club colours, and it's great. Like what's not to like? It's fantastic. It adds to the game. The game's a bigger, sort of a bigger occasion. Not that it can get any bigger, but it just adds extra bit to it. And yeah, it's great to see them doing so well. I fully respect them as a club and what they've done in the space of such a short time. The turnaround's been incredible. So yeah, we've got our part to play as well within the derby, and we'll do that on Friday.